In this video, we're going to look at surface area, what it is, and how to solve for it. First, the definition of surface area. We got the amount of material it would take to cover a 3D shape. Think if you wanted to paint something, that would be the area that you would be painting. Another way to look at it is the area of everything on the outside of a space figure measured in square units. Square units because it is an area. The types of space figures we're going to look at today, we got a prism, and that's a space figure with two parallel sides that are congruent. Alright, just needs two, it can have more though. Then we have a cylinder, which is a space figure with a curved surface and two congruent parallel bases that are circles. You're probably familiar with both of these shapes already. So the surface area of a prism is basically the sum of the area of each one of its faces. To find this, you want to draw and label all the faces, find the area of each one, and add all the faces together. Here we have a cube. A cube is basically a three-dimensional square. Alright, and it's got a side of 3 meters. So we want to figure out, are all the faces the same? The answer is yes, because it's a cube. We want to know how many faces there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 faces. And if we find the area of one of those faces, then we will be able to calculate all of it. So 1 is a 4 by 4, which is 16. Take the number of faces that it has. It has 6, which means 6 times 16 is 96, and it's meters cubed because it is an area. So there's your surface area for a cube. Next up, the rectangular prism. Want to know how many faces this has? And once again, there are 6, just like the cube. We want to find the area of each of these faces, but first we need to know, do any of the faces have the same area? And if they do, which ones? We know that opposite faces are the same in this particular shape. So now we can start by finding the surface area. So 5 times 4 will give us that front face, and that is 20 times 2, so 40. For side B, we got a 6 by 5, which is 30, times 2 because there's 2 of them for 60. And C gives us a 4 by 6, which is 24, times 2, which is 48. And we add, next up, a triangular prism. So first we need to see how many faces there are. If we count them up, it's a little different. There are only 5. We want to know how many of each shape it takes to make this. So we have 2 triangles. Each of the bases are a triangle. And then 3 rectangles. The back, the bottom, and that front face. Those are rectangles. So let's find the area of the triangle first, which is half the base times the height. So we've got 4 times 3 divided by 2. 4 times 3 is 12 divided by 2 is 6. We have 2 of those triangles, so we've got to double that. That gives us 12. So the area of our 2 triangles is 12. Now we got to find the area of the 3 rectangles. We've got a 5 by 10, a 4 by 10, and a 3 by 10. So a 50. Last we have a cylinder. Let's look at the formula first. So the surface area is going to be 2 pi r times height. If you remember, 2 pi r is the circumference of a circle, okay, and then we need to tack on the height of our cylinder. And then we've got 2 pi r squared. Pi r squared is the area, so it's the area of a base, but since we have 2 bases, we need to double that as well. We need to identify the radius and the height. of our cylinder, and then put the r and the h, the radius and the height, into our equation and solve. So here we've got a cylinder that is 8 centimeters across, that's its diameter, 14 centimeters tall. So our radius is 8 divided by 2, which is simply 4, a height of 14. So we have our equation with the height and the radius plugged in. Simplifying that down a little bit, and we end up with our surface area equaling 452.16 centimeters squared. And that's all there is for this one. I hope you got a lot out of it. A 40 and a 30 added to our 12 gives us our surface area of 132, and it's in meters, so meters squared. Those together, that gives us 148 inches squared.